Good morning to one and all. This is Professor Dr. Vijay Ganesh. Today we are going to see about the NAC accreditation process, and there are two types of NAC, one for the universities and another one is for autonomous colleges. And when I talk about the NAC accreditation process, I'm talking about the new and revised NAC accreditation process of 2020-21, and we have the different topics to be discussed on this introduction slides or presentation. But as of now, we will go through with the introduction. The NAC introduction will be like this, and the India is one of the largest and diverse education system in the world, as we all know. And in order to improve the higher education, the NAC has been framed by National Policy on Education (NPE) 1986 and the Program of Action (POA) in 1992. And these two establishments have formed the NAC Accreditation Agency. It's an independent agency where National Assessment and Accreditation Council was established in 1994, an autonomous institution by UGC, University Grant Commission, with headquarters in Bangalore. And they have framed the vision and mission statement in order to make quality assurance an integral part of functioning of higher educational institution, which is called HEI. And generally the vision and mission for any organization will be the important criteria first of all to be considered. Likewise, NAC will also have the vision and mission statement. Let us see the vision of NAC: to make quality the defining element of higher education in India through a combination of self and external quality evaluation, promotion and sustaining activities or initiatives. And in order to achieve the vision, every organization will have a mission statement. Mission statement of NAC is translating the NAC's vision into action plans and define NAC engagement and endeavor as below. Number 1, to arrange for periodic assessment and accreditation of institution of higher education or units thereof or specific academic programs or projects. Number 2, to stimulate the academic environment for promotion of quality in teaching, learning and research in higher education institutions. And number 3, to encourage self-evaluation, accountability, autonomy and innovation in higher education. Number 4, to understand quality-related research, studies, consultancy and training program. And at last, we have to collaborate with other stakeholders of higher education for quality evaluation, promotion and sustenance. So these are all the mission statement for NAC. And when you compared with this assurance, quality assurance, these particular NAC agencies across the world and consists of self-assessment by the institution along with external peer assessment organized by NAC. And we are going to see what is core values. Core values is the higher educational institution should function as a dynamic environment. The need to expand system of higher education and the impact of technology on the educational delivery and the increasing private participation in higher education and the impact of globalization. These are all the core values of NAC. And this changes and the consequent shift in values have been taken into cognizance by NAC, which formulating the core values. So, considering the internal and external validity and credibility, the quality assurance process of NAC is grounded within a value of framework which is suitable and appropriate to the national context. So, there are different 5 core values in the NAC accreditation framework. Number 1, contributing to national development. So every Indian higher educational institution should contribute to the national development. That is an implicit goal of Indian higher education institution. Here the role of HEI is significant in human resource development and capacity building of individual to cater the needs of the economy, society and the country as a whole, thereby contributing to the development of the nation. So every higher educational institution can contribute to national development, and for this the National Assessment and Accreditation process looks into the ways of HEI and been responding and contributing towards this national development. Number 2 is fostering global competency among students. So it is insisted by the NAC includes its scope of assessment skill development of students on par with their counterpart elsewhere in the world. So therefore the accreditation process of NAC need to be examine the role of HEI in preparing students to achieve core competencies to face global challenges successfully. This requires that the HEI be innovative, creative and entrepreneurial in their approach. So the higher educational institution should collaborate with the industries, neighborhood agencies and close relationship between the world of competent learning or the world of skilled work. Number 3, inculcating a value system among students. So skill development is crucial to the success of students in the job market. Skills are less value in the absence of appropriate value system. So country like India with cultural pluralities and diversities, it is essential that students imbibe the appropriate value with the social, cultural and economic environment realities. And the NAC assessment therefore examines how these essential and desirable values are being inculcated in the students by higher educational institution. Number 4th one, promoting the use of technology. As we all know that the information technology or information communication technology ICT uses enormous benefit for the students community, especially in the academic. So the advantage of using modern tools and technological innovation in the day-to-day life are well recognized, and these corresponding changes in the use of new technologies for teaching, learning and governance of higher educational institutions are must. And in addition to using technology as a learning source, managing the activities of institution in a technology enabled way will ensure effective institutional function. And this ICT enabled administrative process will make the system more effective, and also the HEI have put in place their electronic data management systems and electronic resources and their access to internal and external stakeholders, particularly in the student community. and the quest for excellence. This is the fifth core value of NAC. HEI should demonstrate a drive of development to themselves into Center for Excellence. The quest for excellence could start with assessment or even earlier by the establishment of steering committee for preparation of self-study report, which is called SSR of an institution. Another step, important step, is the direction could be the identification of strength and weakness in the teaching learning processes as carried out by the institution. So these five core values are outlined in the form of foundation for the assessment of institution by the Accreditation Council of NAC. So HEI may also add their own values to the in conformity with the goals and missions. Now we talk about in general about the quality of education, how the present scenario in Indian industries. Hardly the 5% of the visited institution qualify for full 5-year accreditation by the NBA committee, and this is happening because of the poor quality engineering graduates can be attributed to poor primary education followed by poor secondary education up to the level of 12th standard. And in new education policies also, and the new rule framed by the Tamil Nadu government has said that there is not necessary the student should take the physics and mathematics as a choice for getting into engineering admissions. There is a compulsory process that teaching of languages and mathematics has been neglected for many years, and this compulsory of passing of students up to now 3rd standard, 5th standard enforced by the government order, which makes tough for the people in the case of quality assurance. So traditional education as content oriented and have different degrees and having their different syllabi. Content are taught and examined. A traditional problem, the teaching, the professor lecture and assigns well-defined convergent single discipline problems, and the student listen, taking notes and solving problems individually. These all contained in the covering of syllabus and content by students, and the teaching methodology. The content driven approach to teaching had been referred to as teacher centered approach. So there are so many deficiency on that content teaching based traditional methods. So their instructional objectives and learning outcomes may not be comprehensively planned and informed to the students, and student involvement is also almost very low participation, and too much technical content, and stress on lower order thinking skill, and student assignment is not aligned to program outcomes. So because of that lack of completely prepared, graduates are not completely prepared for the workforce, and they are lacking in emphasizing on different soft skills needed for their working environment. Example, communication skills, office skills, human relations skills. And this is a serious problem in quality of education among the faculties, students, infrastructure, and even teaching learning processes. So some statistics says that India has total 6,214 engineering and technology institutions in which around 3 million students are enrolled. Every year, on an average of 1.5 million students get their engineering degree, but due to lack of skill required to perform technical jobs, less than 20% get employment in the core domain. And one more statistics, 25% of world's science and engineering graduates are produced in India. 1.5 million engineering passed outs in India every year, which is more than the total number of engineers produced by the USA and China combined together. And the famous aspiring minds also quoted, the employability of Indian engineers continues to be painful low, with more than 80% engineers unemployable for any job, and the qualified engineers unable to get employment in industries are working in non-technical field in spite of huge spending for the technical education. So the TimesNowNews.com has given the statistics that around this year alone 226 colleges want to shut down, especially when I see the graph of the total India, and we have more number of colleges like the Tamil Nadu has got 19, and Telangana will ready to close around 25 colleges, and AICT will also started the council stated that it will not approve any new engineering colleges from academic year 2021. So this decision had come a major decline for engineering admission, and almost 50% of vacancies in the colleges consistently. The AICT also reduced some seats for few engineering colleges, which witnesses lesser demand, and also allowed some of the emerging courses like artificial intelligence and data sciences. Around 50% of seats remained vacant across the country in 18-19 year, and 241 engineering colleges accounting for 80,000 seats as appealed for closure, and 54 colleges were granted approval to close down. So the seats also fall majorly in the year 15 to as of 2021. In 2015 to 16, the fall of seats, number of seats reduced to 3 lakhs, and now it is only 2 lakhs 44,030. So around 1 lakh students are not joined or fall in the category of number of seats. So on this situation, there is a need to address the problem of aligning technical education and to go with the quality assurance and accreditation process for every institution in order to bring up the revival of education in the engineering field. So next class I just want to discuss, or next presentation I just want to discuss about what is accreditation and what are the challenges and things to be done for getting an accreditation by the academic institutions, self-financing institutions, for autonomous and affiliated colleges. Thanks for watching this presentation. I hope that you will understood the entire introduction part of this accreditation process. Thank you for watching, and if you have any doubt you can call me I will give more explanation related to this presentation. Thank you so much.